Things I love in fall is very rich chromas. Okay, the deep purples, the deep ruby reds. You know, some of the tinted aster here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take purple, because people think purple, that's not a fall tone. Go outside and look, yeah it is. Okay. Instead of using this like this and just sticking it in, we're gonna get effect to this. Okay. Break the stems off. Just break them off, and we're gonna do a little technique. That you can take this and you can wrap a piece of wire around it and call it binding, but do it small enough that if you just hold several in your hand like this, cut it, and then just poke it into the oasis. You don't need to take, with this, you don't need to take the time to wire it or bind it. Okay, if you're using bigger stems and you're doing this technique, then just take a little bit of the florist wire, wrap it around, and it goes right in, a lot faster for you. It's called binding. This technique that we're doing again in just our hand is just a grouping technique. And I think it gives just a really nice texture and emphasis to that one flower. It's just a soft painting color into that. Right next to that ruby red, that deep purple, that lavender, that deep lavender tone, just makes that red pop. And everything, if you notice, I had a fresh cut on those. I'm not cutting one stem at a time. That would take me too long, and I'm not very patient. Actually, if your best designs, a friend of mine shared with me, Phil Reluda shared, your best designs comes when you're not thinking, when you're just doing it. It comes from in here. So I don't like to take a lot of time in doing it. I savor the moment, but you have to just go. You gotta just let the colors go. And that's when you're really gonna enjoy what you're doing. It's okay to stop and look and take your time at that point. Like a good cup of coffee. Sometimes you want a big gulp, sometimes you want to sip it a little bit. But if it's been sitting around for about 6 hours, you ain't going back to the cup, are you? Same thing with the floral bouquet. You've got to know the right timing and how to do it. And notice how I'm using that texture, but I'm creating a line with that. Painting with color, painting with texture, the live materials is very dramatic. Think of this, when you think of something on a larger scale that might use the same techniques coming up here after Christmas. Imagine 72 feet of floral product grouped and tailored. Yes, same technique to get that feel and that emphasis. Grouping, texturing, using all the natural materials. When you look at the really pretty floats, you won't see polka dots. You'll see groupings of one type of monobotanicals, one type of color, one type of texture to create those colors. Same thing with this. This is Oregonia. And again, this, I'm not going to cut this. Just break it off to the size that you need. What this is doing is we're just starting to, again, create a base, cover up some of the oasis, because if we don't do it now, if I was to place these daisies in right now, where I want them to go, I can't get my big old hands in there. So I'm going to do the inside first, then I can come back in and we will place this yellow against this yellow background later. Maybe I might feel like I want to put the yellow against the purple. Look how that pops. But I can't put these in first. I've got to do the in to the out on this for this technique. But again, not when you go back, I want you to think paint, group. What that does is it draws attention to your product, it draws attention to the bouquet, and when you look at it, people will look at it from this angle and they'll see a bouquet. And they'll go to another angle and they'll see a different bouquet. And that creates interest. And that's what makes some bouquets look more professionally done than some bouquets that are just poke, 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 poke. Yeah, they're pretty. The flowers are gorgeous, but it doesn't draw your attention and that emphasis as much as grouping the flowers do. So I'll add a little bit of the Oregonia, and then this is awesome. This fall aster, tinted aster, and again, I'll just come in here and put a little texture in here. Now, again, I could just stick the whole stem in, or, you know what? I'm a smart, frugal florist. I'm gonna take a few off of here. Now, guess what? I get 2 for 1 special. It's happy hour in the aster section. Okay? So, I got length here. And I have in-close texture with this group. 2 for 1. And I didn't have to go over and get another stem. Value. It comes down to value. From a retail standpoint, more value, got to use every bit that you can, and a frugal way to use it is stretch the material. We talk about stretching the materials. And some of these have laterals really, really, really long. But this technique blends itself into, even if I can save this much, it'll cover up some space. Instead of sticking this whole stem in coming out here, if I can do that, then I don't have to go back and get another one over here. When you go to a fair and you see some of the bouquets, when I look at it, I look and I see the amateur section of people that are really trying, they're really looking, but their bouquets look just sort of not finished. Okay, even on the professional level, I go into stores and I see bouquets that look sort of messy, if you will. That's why they look messy. Clean lines, grouping, proper techniques. Painting with that texture up, so we're creating a line. So that follows up. And covering up our mechanics. That's really important principle, and I use a lot of line in my design. And I want movement in the bouquet. I want the eye to move, not to stay in one solid point. So now we use the Israeli ruscus, and this is great to help cover the oasis and again stretch the materials out. So I'll cut it into small pieces with about 2 leaves, and then I'll place it at an angle coming up, using the natural flow of that leaf going down to help cover up our liner and some of our materials and that tape so that those mechanics are hidden. And again, grouping, because that texture, that nice, really pretty emerald green, it's just really yummy and counterbalanced with the purples and the reds. Greens don't have to be a backdrop to a bouquet. Greens, I try not to think of them as just covering up mechanics. Greens are another texture, it's another color, it's an integral part of the bouquet if you use it properly. Like the Oregonia, that's a statement in this bouquet. The ruscus, it's a statement, it's a different texture. So it adds personality to it. So that's the next stage. We'll come to that point, and I think we'll go one more product in your bucket. You do have the hypericum berries. And Rob, correct me, but aren't these coffee beans?
Coffee beans.
These are coffee beans.
Well, they
Grown
smell like
in
coffee?
Ecuador and Colombia, because the cartels are now feeling the pinch and don't make a lot. They know they can make a lot of money legally with roses and flowers selling to the States.
Legally.
We hope, but the coffee berries and you know the ones that don't make the cut for the Tully's bean end up in the floral shop. Great texture, very long lasting, and if you want to just break one off and look at it and cut it open, smell it.
It does smell like coffee?
Yeah, you'll get a coffee fragrance. It's really sort of unique.
Awesome.
Different colors too. The market first started with like coffee foliage, and then they came in with the hypericum berry.